You know, I played golf, from junior golf. I started at 13. I've been to high school, played 4 years of college golf, okay? Started to get in the PGA, started to teach in 1983. I swear to you, for the first 20 years from starting high school, college, giving lessons, I never once talked about the ground. Stupid? Yep. Wasn't my fault. There was a lot of information out of there, right? I didn't even know what I was thinking about, right? But I was thinking about a lot of stuff up here, okay? But then I had to think about what, okay? The ground. So what's the two purposes of the ground for you, right? When I ask people, most people say, well, keep you balanced, keep you stable. Checkbox, number one, okay? You gotta be able to stay stable on the ground. So if you're gonna stay stable on the ground, you have to start to pay attention to what? How much ground force, right? How much ground force you have, and then how is as you start turning and swinging it, right? How is that weight being distributed? Is it more here, right? How is it being distributed on your feet, right, as you're swinging? So, in this video and in this skill, right, I just want you to start paying attention to your feet, because it took me 30 years to pay attention to my feet and to tell other people, pay attention to your feet, feel how you're using the ground. How do you run fast? Use the ground. How do you jump high? Use the ground. How do you make great balanced fast golf swings? You guessed it, use the ground, okay? So we've got our feet, and we're gonna say, hey, we're gonna pay attention to how we're gonna use our ground, stability. What about the other thing? Well, the ground is what we use to help us to turn, to rotate, right? To rotate. Golf is an activity where you have to have rotational forces, right? So if I come over here, get up against the back here, if you look down at my feet as I start rotating my center right up in here, right? I have connection to the ground, I have connection to the ground. And then as I start to unwind this, I have to use my, like I can't get from this side of my body over to that side of my body without moving my base first, right? I have to move my base first. How do I move my base? Use the ground. Use the ground. So you can see that I'm using the ground, right? See, I'm using the ground to turn my hips, right? To rotate. Using the ground to turn, to rotate, okay? This is probably best without a club initially, right? You can see here, I've got this hand over here on the back side. You could do it like that. So you take the back side, use the ground to rotate. Switch it. Now make this the center of your swing from the front side. Put this in here. Now use the ground to rotate. How would you know when you're done rotating, right? Because this is this is confusing to the brain, but it's not confusing, right? You have a target line out here. That's where the club is, okay? Where's my body? My body is way on the inside of that target line. So when I finish my swing, a lot of people think they go, oh, there you go. I'm facing the target, okay? That, that's always what I heard, growing up, I heard, you gotta turn and face the target. That's a wrong answer. You should be turned to because I'm a right-handed player, I should be turned to the left of the target. There's my hips, right? So the club is moving in and up, using the ground to turn to the line, and then turn it back in and up. Of course, if I was a left-handed player, I would be what? I would be turning it up on this side, right? So you have to make sure that it's a completed rotation. So when you're done, if that belt buckle is only to the target, you did not complete your rotation, did you? If it's short of the target like this, okay, it's bad rotation, right? So you have to use the ground to start to rotate, right? What about, so you say, okay, I use the ground to stay stable. I use the ground to take and help me rotate, okay? You need to use the ground to help you to stop, right? Because when I start rotating, I start creating some speed, so now I'm gonna use the ground to brace and stop, right? So pay attention to the ground. The ground is your best friend. You love the ground because if you don't have any stability and movement down here, it's gonna make things very difficult up here and out there. So use the ground.